Q is hanging right out there. He's hanging out with us, you know, and September's there for it. First question tonight comes from Bondi Beach Beer on YouTube. There's a channel all-star as well, might I add. I believe I'm pretty darn sure he's a tier 1 VIP member. So yeah, Bondi Beach. I'm finding one of my beers is pouring with 0 head or foam, and it is going a little bit tart. When tapping a fresh keg on this particular line, it returns to a great beer with head, but soon returns to a shabby state with about a quarter of a keg left. What is going on here? P.S. Lines get cleaned fortnightly. I'm gonna need to Google fortnight, or can somebody in the chat please tell me how long a fortnight is? That 2 weeks? If you're cleaning your lines fortnightly, that's a good way to do it. So you're not thinking that's a line cleaning thing, because you mentioned that they're cleaned with some regularity. I'm finding one of my beers is pouring 0 head and is going a little tart. When tapping a fresh keg on this particular line, it returns to a great beer with head, but soon. That's strange, man. And let me tell you why. You talked about line cleaning, and maybe there is an issue with that line, and I'm not sure what your draft system looks like. But if you're in a situation where all you have to do is swap out some pretty cheap beverage hose, some pretty cheap beverage tubing, yeah, Drempa, man, it is 2 weeks. Listen, I'm a man of the world. I appreciate it. Sometimes I feel good when I know what things mean, even though the rest of the world probably already knows what they mean. But Drempa Man comes through in the clutch with letting us know that a fortnight is 2 weeks. So he is washing his lines every 2 weeks. That's good, which is within spec for something like that. But what's strange is the variable seems to be that the beer is fine in the keg, and then it's on this line and it's going south. I mean, I do very much think that you're looking at something on the service side, right? And there can be multiple things there. Even if you're line cleaning, it can be challenging to clean lines appropriately, meaning to an appropriate temperature, especially if you're trying to run caustic at a certain temperature. Sometimes people don't have appropriate equipment to run the occasional acid run on something like that. So, it can be anything from the hardware, anything from the coupler, as Drampa Man is saying, on into your lines. I mean, it is obviously you're talking about a pH drop, so you're getting some tartness. And now an interesting thing that you'll see is you'll also see that as acidity of a beer drops, its ability to maintain a foam stand decreases as well. So I was doing an experiment some years ago with a homebrewed beer that I made, and I'm trying to remember what it was. I think I tried to make a Berliner, and I didn't have a lot of great information in front of me. And I think there's better info now available on how to do some of those quick tart beers or beers with lactobacillus. And it wasn't tart enough. And so what I did was I grabbed some lactic acid and I started dosing it. And I had multiple sample cups. And so really I was kind of doing this exercise. And don't get mad at me for saying, well, you're adding acid to the, lactic acid to the beer or whatever. I mean, it had somewhat of a tart base to it, but it wasn't as strong as it should have been. So as I was dosing these up, I remember listening to years ago, Jamil Zainashev, probably on the episode on Berliner, and talking about foam stand and how when you get to a certain acidity level that foam stand doesn't want to stand up anymore. And the interesting thing is the one sample that I dosed and the head just collapsed on it once I got it to that pH. I don't remember off the top of my head what it was, but as soon as that head fell, that was the one I tasted, and I was like, oh wow, this pops. This is getting in the range, right? So yeah, it does sound like you're driving something like that. The strange thing to me though is that it wouldn't necessarily signal, or at least a lot of strains of lacto that we know, because a lot of those strains like to work warmer, far warmer than your cold room temperature. But you do have something going on that's driving things down. I would look at all the softs on that for that handle. So both your beverage line, your coupler, all that stuff. See if you can get that stuff stripped out. And I'd even go as far as to look at your faucet and all of the softs that are part of your faucet as well. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you feel as if you got any value out of the video, please like and subscribe. There are also other videos that you can watch. They're gonna maybe be over here or over here. Appreciate you watching.